Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? It is Psycho Sibs Gaming. Yes, I am actually making a video this time. And, I feel like there's a couple things we need to address before this starts. Really quick, first elephant in the room. Obviously, I haven't made a video in like 4 months. That exists, okay? That's a thing that exists, that happened. And also, within those, within that nice 4-month-long nap I was taking, we managed to hit 10,000 subscribers. So I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who's been watching my videos while I've been out, doing real life stuff. But yeah, that's super awesome. That really snuck up on me. So huge thank you to all you guys. So in honor of that, today we're going to be making a Plants vs. Zombies tier list from the original mobile game. Now here's the deal. If you look up on YouTube and you go, searching for Plants vs. Zombies tier list, there's like a million of them out there, okay? A million people have all their different opinions on, is pea shooter really worse than repeat or stuff like that, okay? I don't really care about any of that, okay? I don't want to just do something that all these other people have already done, okay? So today we're doing a Plants vs. Zombies tier list, but we're doing a real-life Plants vs. Zombies tier list. So all of my opinions here are based off of the real-life counterparts of the in-game plant character. Let's just chill out, have some fun with it. And remember, guys, if you do enjoy this video, this is my first video in a long time, please go ahead and smash that like button for me, ladies and gentlemen. If we can, you know what? We got 10,000 subscribers now. I want to see 10,000 likes on this video. That is the most ridiculous, unrealistic life. With that being said, again, thank you so much for 10,000 subscribers. Let's get into the ranking. Alright, so here we are on the famous tiermaker.com. Just went ahead and grabbed one of these tier lists for Plants vs. Zombies 1. This one was made by Wheeze328, shout out that guy for making this. I don't know, it's just the first one that came up on the website, don't judge me. But what I have done here is I've reordered all of the plants in the order that you unlock them in-game, which, took me like 3 minutes. So we're going to go one by one and rank them now. So let's start off here with everybody's, fan favorite here, the pea shooter. Now here's the deal with pea shooter, okay? When you think about peas in real life, okay, first of all, they don't go launching themselves off the vine. That's highly unrealistic. But, I don't care too much about the realism. What I do care about is the fact that, one, not a huge pea person, okay? I don't like pea very much. Well, that sounded kind of awkward. This is getting off to a great start. But anyways, I'm not a huge fan of the pea pod. That being said, the thing that really does it for me here is that we've tried to grow peas in our yard multiple times, and the thing is, all it takes is one rabbit, and these guys are just completely decimated. For some reason, it's always the peas that get torn up, so for that reason, we're putting pea shooter in C tier here. Now, sunflower is a different story. Sunflowers are actually incredible plants, okay? They're tall, they got really nice big heads on them. Okay, it's pretty realistic in real life to their in-game counterpart here. Also, sunflower seeds, delicious. You can spit them out on the baseball field. That's so much fun. So for that reason, we're already dropping an S tier right now. Okay, sunflower, S tier, it's meant to be here. All right, so cherry bomb. The cherries are pretty good. They're pretty tasty. You can also make a lot of really fantastic mixed drinks with cherry juice. So for that reason, I'm going to put cherries in A tier here. Now, we'll say walnuts, they have a pretty thick shell. And, Christmas time, you get nutcrackers out here cracking up all those walnuts. So, in my personal opinion here, if all it takes is one nutcracker to bring this guy down, I'm really not super impressed. And you got to do all that work to get to the nut inside. I'm dropping walnut and CT here along with the pea shooter. Moving on, we've got potato mine. Now, this is an interesting one. I think in the end, this really turns out to be more like a baked potato, but considering it's the only potato plant we've got here, potatoes are just so versatile. You can make French fries, mashed potatoes, just grilled potatoes, baked potatoes. There's really, the potato is a staple. Tuber. I think it's a tuber, right? It's not. I don't do plant classifications, but for that reason, potatoes are just wonder vegetables. So I'm dropping them up in S tier. Now that I think about it, I think a potato is better than a sunflower. We're dropping sunflower down to A tier. Lots of decisions being made here. This is really putting me on the spot. Moving on here, we've got snow pea. So snow pea is an interesting one. It's basically pea shooter. Although, here's the thing: is I actually don't know if snow peas are real. Are they like a real? All right, hold on. Snow peas. Snow peas are actually. Are they? Yeah. Look at that. It's like they're actually called snow peas. Huh. Okay. Well, here's snow peas not actually blue. D tier. All right. Next up. Okay. Chomper. All right. Venus flytraps, which is obviously what the chomper is based off of. These plants are unbelievable. They actually eat like insects. Just a plant consume. This is the only one of the only plants here that can actually, deal damage. You get a life size one of these. All right. It would kill you probably. So hopefully we don't ever see that come into existence there. For that reason, I think that the Venus flytrap is one of the most incredible plants on this planet, and I'm dropping that one in S tier. So far, yeah, we need to drop some in B tier. I think we'll get that later on. All right, repeater. Okay, so here's the thing with the repeater. Repeater is basically just 2 peas, and I'm not a huge fan of peas, so we're dropping that in the C tier. Puff shroom. Puff shroom's an interesting one. It's basically just a mushroom. I'm treating this like, your average mushroom. And here, I think fungi are pretty neat. They can survive in very damp, dark temperatures. That is true. Also, they are food, and some of them can kill you. I'm gonna drop. I think mushrooms are pretty B tier. I think, like, as far as the plant world goes, they're fairly average. They're unique enough where I'm not dropping a C tier on them or a D tier, but I think they're gonna go B. I'm also gonna drop sunshroom in there. That one seems a little more unrealistic to me. That a mushroom would be able to emit sunlight. I guess some of them, if you got bioluminescent mushrooms, maybe. Now I'm thinking about it, bioluminescent mushrooms would be pretty cool. So actually, let's bring sunshroom up to A tier. That is a pretty neat plant. Gloom shroom, I think we're gonna drop that in B tier. It's just like a mushroom, but like a bigger mushroom. And again, mushrooms are a pretty neat category of plants. We're gonna keep that in the B tier. All right, so next up we've got Gravebuster here. This one seems a little unrealistic to me. I don't think that these exist in real life. Otherwise, the cemeteries would have quite a problem on their hands. That being said, destruction of property, especially in cemeteries, that's not cool. So Gravebuster's going in the D tier for sure here. All right, next up we've got Hypno Shroom. Now, Hypno Shroom, it's an interesting. I mean, it's basically just a psychedelic mushroom, from my understanding. Okay, it's basically drugs, and obviously drugs are S tier. All right, so now after careful reconsideration, I realize I don't condone drugs. I don't actively permit or encourage the use of any sort, of substance like that, some illegal substance. So for that reason, Hypno Shroom's dropping in a D tier here. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but don't take drugs. Drugs are bad. So, now that we got that out of the way, moving on here, Scaredy Shroom. Okay, it's just a mushroom, but it's scared. That's weak there. Okay, that's weak. And for that reason, I'm dropping that in a D tier. I mean, like, come on. Mushrooms, they're pretty neat and all, but a scared mushroom isn't going to do it for me here. Moving on, we've got Ice Shroom. Now, Ice Shroom's an interesting one. I mean, mushrooms are pretty neat. We've already established that. I already said that like 200 times. And I mean, if the mushroom was frozen, I suppose would it really add to the awesomeness of the mushroom if it was frozen? And I don't really think so. I think we're going to keep that in line with the other mushrooms here. Doom Shroom, on the other hand, is an interesting one because there are definitely mushrooms that could just murder you and your family and your dog. So for that reason, we're dropping Doom Shroom in A tier. They're as representation of all the extremely dangerous mushrooms. Like if you were out there trying to survive in the wild, like shout out Bear Grylls one time, and you're like, oh, you know what? Oh, this mushroom looks tasty. I'm hungry, and you're just dead. Okay, it happens. It happens. There are people out there, succumb to these dangerous mushrooms. So Doom Shroom is definitely an A tier. Lily Pad. Lily pad is an interesting one here. Okay, lily pads are pretty neat. They help frogs. You know, it's a nice flat for frogs to just chill out on and relax. And they also provide great cover for fish. I'm a big fisherman here. Always got to target those lily pads. Lily pads, great cover for fish. I'm dropping lily pad in the A tier there. All right, next up we've got squash. Squash is just a lesser pumpkin, really. There's not anything super great about them. When I'm out in the pumpkin patch trying to pick the perfect pumpkin for Halloween, it's just like, you know, I just pass, you know, there's just some squashes chilling in the field, and I'm like, I can't do that. I can't take a squash over a pumpkin. For that reason, we're dropping squash in the C tier. All right, it's not quite D tier, but it's not, you know, it's not the best, okay? Next up, we've got the 3-peater. Again, it's just a P. I mean, come on now. It's a C tier plant. Tangle kelp. This plant terrifies me. Okay, oops. Didn't mean to do that. This plant terrifies me. Alright, first of all, let's understand that it does provide great cover for fish. It's always nice to have some nice kelp when you're trying to catch those fishies. That being said, the idea of a plant that if I jumped in the water and my feet got caught on it and it drowned me is horrifying. And for that reason, I think I'm going to go ahead and place Tangle Kelp in the B tier just because it's, you know, it's pretty helpful, kind of like the lily pad for fishing wise, but as far as terrifies me wise, that's going in this, you know, actually now that I think about it, this is very inconsistent because Venus flytraps also kind of terrify me. So, you know, let's drop it in the A tier actually, because, you know, honestly, there's potential for this to kill me in real life here, but you know, also Venus flytraps aren't technically that big, so I guess it's less really. But you know, we're moving on. Jalapenos. Jalapenos, actually, I'm a big fan of jalapenos. I'm a big fan of spicy hot chip. So you know, jalapenos are really high quality for me. That being said, you know, I had this sandwich once, and it had raw jalapenos on it, and honestly, I don't know. I think I like the flavor of the jalapeno, but the pepper itself is really, it's really not doing it for me. So for that reason, I'm gonna put jalapeno in B tier. Next up, we've got spikeweed. Spikeweed could really do a number on my car tires, so I'm dropping that in the D tier. I really don't want to mess with that. Also, you step on that, it's not fun. It's not fun. Torchwood is really high quality. It's simply because I'm a big fan of roasting marshmallows, and Torchwood is really gonna help you out there if you're trying to make a nice s'more. You know, you get the, you know, here's a comment question for you. All right, drop a comment below. First of all, do you guys like s'mores? Yes or no? Also, do you use a quarter of the chocolate bar on the s'more, or do you use half of the chocolate bar on the s'more? Or are you one of those people who use Reese's peanut butter cups? Okay, I'm a half chocolate bar guy, and for that reason, we're gonna put Torchwood in the A tier, okay? Gotta love me some s'mores. Also, although, now that I think about it, forest fires are kind of a bad thing, so we're gonna drop him down to B tier. Next up, we've got tall nut, just a taller walnut. We've already covered this. Next up, we've got aqua shroom. Again, mushrooms are pretty neat, so we're gonna drop him in, you know, that B tier there. And it's interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen a mushroom underwater before, but I assume that if I had seen one before, it would also be just as neat as the other mushrooms here. So let's go ahead onto the lantern plant. Plantern. I remember that. Okay, as you can tell, it's been a little while since I've played this game. Okay, so here's the deal with Plantern. All right, there are some bioluminescent plants out there, and I like that. Okay, and just imagine if like you didn't have to have lights in your house, if you could just put plants in your house, that would be pretty cool. So we're gonna drop Plantern in the A tier. Cactus. Now cactus is a high quality plant here. First of all, you know, it actually is pretty, you know, it's got high defense stats here. You don't want to be messing with the cactus. You're going to be in some danger. Going to get pricked pretty hard here. That's pretty nice. And then also on the same front is that the cactus, you can actually eat the cactus. You can cut it open, and it's a delicious prickly pear cactus. You know, I've gotten the prickly pear drink at Starbucks a few times. It's quite delicious. And then also to top it all off, you've got succulents. These tiny little baby cactuses that freshman girls put in their dorm rooms, okay? That is really just taking the cactus a notch above the other plants. I'm dropping cactus in the S tier. Next up, we've got the blover here. I think, is it blover? Or, I mean, it's a clover. It's just a clover, right? And here's the deal. Clovers are only cool if they got 4 leaves, because then they're lucky. This only has 3. This is a D tier plant. Next up, we've got split pea. Now, I'm going to drop it with all the other pea shooters, but I will acknowledge that this is based off of split pea soup. And now that I think about it, it's quite impressive to me that you have to split each individual pea while trying to make that soup. So for that hard labor, I'm going to put that one in the B tier. Next up, we've got starfruit. Starfruit are actually quite interesting, and simply from personal experience, because obviously, you know, it's my opinion and my, you know, anecdotal evidence here that is supporting this tier list. You know, I've actually hand-picked a starfruit from the tree and eaten it, and it was delicious. So I'm dropping that in the A tier. Next up, we've got jack-o'-lantern. I've already expressed my love for Halloween and how I'm a big fan of pumpkins. And, you know, we dropped squash in C tier here, right? And I think that if this was a normal pumpkin, it would be B tier or A tier, simply because pumpkin pie is fantastic. However, the real end game with the pumpkin is the jack-o'-lantern, okay? Which is why the jack-o'-lantern is making its way to the S tier, because you got the pumpkin in itself. You can make the pumpkin seeds are delicious, pumpkin pie is delicious, and then the jack-o'-lantern itself is not only, you know, a joy to look at, but it's an activity in that. So we've got another S tier candidate here. Magnet shroom. This is kind of strange. You know, I think I'm just gonna stay with my rankings here, placing magnet shroom. And you know what? No, magnet shroom's a C tier plant. All right. Well, it'd be pretty neat, cool if, you know, a mushroom could steal my keys. It would also suck if I tried to walk out to my car and my keys got ripped off and hauled across the yard by a magnetic mushroom. So we're dropping that in the C tier. Next up, we've got cabbage pulp, and honestly, I think that if this was lettuce pulp, it would be a B tier. You know, I do enjoy a nice Caesar salad. However, cabbage is just like a lesser tier lettuce, in my opinion. So we're dropping that in the C tier for cabbage. The pot. All right, this is just dirt. That being said, it is quite useful to have a pot of dirt if you want any of these plants in your house, which is why it's going in the B tier. Obviously, that's an obvious choice here. Next up, we've got kernel corn. Now, corn is actually, you know, if we're sticking with the fall vibes, just like jack-o'-lantern corn mazes, if you've ever been to a corn maze, it's a novelty, really. Also, corn on the cob, pretty solid. That being said, cream corn, not that great. And also, I don't like corn on the cob if it's off the cob. Like, as soon as you take that corn off the cob, then it's like a D tier. But for the reasons mentioned previously, we're dropping kernel corn in the A tier. Next up, we've got the coffee bean. Coffee bean should be S tier because, you know, it is the most important thing in life, drinking coffee. But coffee gives me a stomach ache, so I'm putting it in the A tier. Garlic now. Garlic is possibly one of the most important tools in your kitchen, okay? I do, you know, I credit myself with being a pretty above average chef, all right? Maybe average, now that I think about it. But if you have garlic powder, you can make anything taste good, which is why garlic is going in the S tier. Also, it can ward off vampires. Another plus. Next up, we've got, hold on, I have no idea what this is called. Umbrella leaf. So, you know, first of all, I don't even remember this plant, which is why it should go more towards D tier. But at the same time, I think this is kind of based off of like a palm tree, or maybe like a banana, like a plantain plant. I think they got big leaves, plantains. With that being said, you know, palm trees are pretty nice. You know, I've been to LA, I've been to San Diego, I've seen the palm trees, and they're pretty fun to drive past. So we're gonna drop that one in B tier there. Next up, we've got dandelion. dandelion, you know. Actually, I'm totally wrong. This is a marigold. Apparently, I don't know my flowers very well, but they look nice next to your house when you plant them. So for that reason, you know, just for a potted household plant, we're going to drop that one in the B tier. Watermelon. I mean, you cannot go wrong with a watermelon, okay? It's actually not that expensive to buy such a large fruit from your grocery store, which is why I think that melon pulp definitely deserves to go in the A tier. Gatling pea, it's a C tier plant. Twin sunflower, I think that we've just got to keep the regular sunflower a tier higher than the twin sunflower. A single sunflower is enough for me. That's all I can handle, really. I'm a one sunflower type of guy. Next up, we've got this guy. This is another mushroom, really. Hold on, fume shroom, right? I've just been informed by my sources that this is gloom shroom. I have a feeling that I misnamed this one as gloom shroom earlier when it is actually fume shroom. I apologize. That being said, it just goes with all the other mushrooms, really. It's a B tier. Alright, so now we got cattails, alright? Now here's the thing about cattails. If you've ever seen one, they look a lot like a corn dog, alright? They look delicious. However, have you ever eaten a cattail before? They do not taste like corn dogs, and for that reason, it's going in the D tier. Alright, next up we've got winter melon. I don't know, it's kind of like a melon, but not quite a melon. I'm going to go ahead and drop that one in the B tier. Alright, so next up we've got gold magnet here. This is just going in the same thing as magnet shroom. Spike rock. So, I mean, it's a rock. It's not a plant. And for the same reasons as spike weed, we're putting it there in the D tier. the cob cannon, the big gonzo here, okay? I think that just for the same reasons as kernel pulp, we're gonna drop the cob cannon in the A tier. It's a little bit more menacing than the kernel pulp, but it's essentially the same function. It's just corn. And finally, we've got mimic, and you know, I respect the mime trade. That being said, you know, they just need to learn how to get out of those invisible boxes. Really, it's not that hard. For that reason, we're gonna drop the mimic in the D tier. Alright, well, that pretty much wraps up my Plants vs. Zombies in real life plants tier list here. Do you agree with my picks? Which plants on this list do you think are horribly wrong and you would not have placed there? Please let me know in the comment section below. So with that being said, again, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for 10,000 subscribers. And hopefully you'll see another video from me. Maybe.